Hello, everybody. The DUI guy is back with a vengeance. How's everybody doing today? Happy Saturday. Do you all have electricity where you are? It was extremely cold last night. It was like here in Kentucky, here in Louisville, it was like 7 degrees, I think, at its lowest point. Everybody was telling me to turn my faucets on for the night to make sure that my pipes don't freeze. Hey, Mike. Hey, JJ. Hey, Warren. Mike says he's got no water. I'm so sorry, Mike. Did your pipes freeze? F. Lotog, how's it going, brother? Wayman. Minus 30 in Minnesota. Good God. No, that's inhuman weather, as Lewis Black put it. It might be okay. It's moose weather, right? It might be okay for a moose, but it's not okay for human beings. Hey, Richard, Camper Van, James, Sean. It's a city issue. Gotcha, Mike. Adrian, thanks, brother. I really appreciate that. So it is good to be back. Sorry I was MIA for a little while. The technical difficulties have been addressed and taken care of. My Yeti microphone is no longer going to be serviced. I am done trying. I'm just going to use my Rode here that I have been using. So hopefully we will not be running into any more technical difficulties moving forward. Sean says minus 50 degrees Celsius here in Canada. Holy crap. Definitely not moving to Canada. I can tell you that right now. Hey, Clobber. Hey, Nick. Hey, Roy. Luis Rodriguez, we may touch upon that. Yes, we are, Emmanuel. We are live. You got that right. I have like a little bit of hair that I just can't get rid of right over here. Anywho, it's good to see everybody. Hi from Morocco. Holy crap. We got Yusuf in here from Morocco. Hey, Kim. Oh, Kim's here. How's it going, Kim? Kim and F. Lotog, my two favorite moderators, are all here. At least spring is around the corner. You got that right. I have Dogecoin, Jonathan. I think so. It's actually funny. I bought, I want to say like 20,000. Some people call it Dogecoin. I call it Doge. Some people bought Doge. I bought like 20,000 Dogecoins for like $40 like 6 or 7 years ago. And but here's the problem. I don't know how to access my wallet. I can't figure out how to get my wallet to open and like where they are. I may only have 10,000 of them. I may have the full 20 on that wallet. I don't know, but even 10,000 would be nice if it goes to like $1, you know. But I don't know. I don't know what the, I don't really bet. This was just like one thing that I thought, man, maybe it might be prudent to kind of invest into, but I don't know. If you know, what's the point of investing into it if you can't withdraw it at a later date? I think it's obviously defeats the purpose. So the 10,000 I'm sitting on, or the 20,000 I'm sitting on, wherever they are, I think right now, again, still is pretty worthless. They're worth like maybe what, $500 maybe. Still not worth the cash in. Way too early. But I definitely need to figure out if I'm going to be able to get access to that. Because if I can, then it's completely pointless. You know, $40 down the drain, but it's the investment that's really nice. Are we going to discuss the MORE Act? Probably not, Jonathan. I missed you too, Kim. Thank you. Thanks, Demi Alter. So today, you saw the question. Well, before we get to it, a little bit of an introduction. So as we always do, we, ladies and gentlemen, have finally hit 60,000 subscribers. That is insane. That is insane to even think for a second that one day I'm going to be sitting in front of my computer talking to you guys in front of a camera and knowing that there are 60,000 of you out there who have actually clicked on the channel. Hey, Liberty Cause, how's it going, brother? Another favorite moderator of mine. Rarely shows up anymore. I'm glad to see you, brother. 60,000. That is just unbelievable. So thank you guys so much for the 60K. Don't forget to like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell if you haven't already. And if you're so inclined to join as a member, you get access to emojis, member-only memes, and of course, your personal badge. As you can see, both Flotog and Kim Berger both have a little badge next to their names. So very, very cool. And I cannot wait to hit 100K, Kim. I'm hoping I can do it by the end of the year based on the way things have been going. But I'm not shaving my head. I'm not making a bet on one of those. If I hit 100K, I'm going to shave my head or anything like that. So, hey, Steven. So here we go. I think I'm at like 60.6 or something like that. So very, very cool. Exciting stuff. Now this today, I want to make this more of a conversation than a lecture than I usually do. I mean, I will be talking about it obviously a little bit. So we're going to deviate a little bit from the norm because I think this is a very, very interesting topic for conversation rather than me just sitting here and lecturing to you all about, DUI law and the decriminalization of marijuana and how it affects DUI law and how it affects your case. If you're in a state where it's legal versus if you're in a state where it's not legal. I mean, there's just so many little nuances and we could go on and on and on, especially because just as many states as there are probably about as many ways of dealing with a marijuana DUI. So obviously I'm not well versed in that. I can only speak to what's happening in Kentucky, and that's going to be extremely limited because we're a zero tolerance state. Commonwealth of Kentucky is zero tolerance policy for marijuana. As far as strictly the law is concerned, if there is THC in your system, you are considered to be operating a motor vehicle under the influence. It does not matter to the law, if you had smoked, the day before or a week before. If they take your blood, you test positive for THC, obviously there's going to be more to the case. The officer presumably will have performed standardized field sobriety tests. They may have observed your demeanor. They noticed that you may have been a little slow, lethargic. You may have failed the field sobriety test and so on. All of those are going to be factors to take into consideration when litigating a marijuana DUI case. But the interesting thing is, obviously the question for today is, what effect would decriminalization of cannabis have on DUI law? So if cannabis is decriminalized, what effect does it have on DUI law? Short answer, none. Thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it. It's been a lovely talk. I've answered the question that has been posed. I will see you guys, what is it, next Saturday? It's going to be February 27th at 6:30. No, I'm kidding, of course. No, the answer is no. It will not really have any much of an effect on DUI law. So that's the short answer. Now, of course, we're going to get a little bit deeper into it because obviously, as far as I know, in all 50 states, you are going to be prosecuted if you get pulled over and the officer, the easiest thing is if you smoked marijuana and the burnt scent is anywhere near you or around you inside the vehicle, that is going to be an immediate red flag to the officer. This might be a marijuana DUI stop, and 9 times out of 10, the officer will probably be right. So, of course, you're still going to get pulled over. You're going to get arrested. You're going to get charged, and you're going to get investigated before that. So, generally, as I've said, it has no effect. Even the states that have decriminalized marijuana, they had absolutely no change to their DUI laws in the books, like in the statute where the individual is being charged with it. No real change has occurred. The exception, of course, is I think Washington and Oregon. There are a couple of states, one of them I know has a per se limit. So if there's a per se limit, let's say 5 nanograms per milliliter has been, I shouldn't say medically, but there's some literature to indicate that 0.08 BAC is kind of sort of equivalent to 5 nanograms per milliliter of THC. Again, I think it's a stretch, especially with what we're about to talk about. But at the same time, you know, the government likes simplicity. The government wants to prosecute you, and the easier their job becomes at prosecuting you for the violation of a crime that has occurred, the easier it is for them. So like what happens in Kentucky a lot of times is the lab report will come back and it'll have, I mean, even 2, 3, 1. I don't know if I've ever seen 1. I've seen 2, I've seen 3, I've seen 4, and so on and so forth, nanograms per milliliter. You know, the prosecutor just kind of slides that piece of paper across the desk and says, look, your guy was high or your girl was high on THC, clearly, so we have a DUI here. Well, hold on, not so fast, slow down. And this is where most attorneys who are unfamiliar with this area of law may think this is the end of the road, but obviously, when you talk to your client comes back to you and says, look, I didn't smoke that day. I smoked the day before. I smoked a week before, and it was still in my system. That's where the case gets interesting. And even beyond that. So we will talk about that. Can you get a DUI for smelling like weed? No, I actually even tried a case where my guy was smelling like weed. Will you get charged, Frozen Balls? Yes, you can still get charged. The only question is, can you get convicted? Now, I'm living proof now with my one case last year where my client got acquitted. It was a 4-minute. The jury took 4 minutes to come back and say not guilty. And he smelled like marijuana. The truck did, not him. And that was because his grandmother smoked in that vehicle before he drove it. So that was a whole issue. We had it was a great case. It was a great case. And that's why we won. So the fact that the DUI laws have not been changed is a very clear reason. And there's a very clear reason for that. And that's because when an officer smells marijuana, especially burnt marijuana, for them, it is an immediate indicator that you are potentially under the influence of cannabis while you're operating a motor vehicle. So let's talk about that. Does marijuana actually impair your ability to drive a motor vehicle? And interestingly enough, we do have, for some of you who may be familiar, from an article that came out in 2015. It was called the Drug and Alcohol Crash Risk Study. The Drug and Alcohol Crash Risk Study. It was promulgated by the National Highway Traffic and Safety Administration, which is a government organization that is responsible for our roads, basically. And NHTSA for short, NHTSA, National Highway Traffic and Safety Administration, we call it NHTSA. NHTSA's crash risk study is the first large-scale study in the United States to include drugs other than alcohol. Okay, so that was the first time they dove into that topic. This study estimated the odds of being involved in a crash if a driver was alcohol and or drug positive. A positive result for a drug does not necessarily mean the driver was impaired at the time of testing, only that the drug was present in the body. That's a key fact. Data from this study contributes to a better understanding of the nature and scope of the drugged driving issue. And in summary, I can tell you right now, it's mind-boggling. So what happened? According to this study, people who smoke marijuana, it has been found, have a minimally higher risk of crashing than those who stay sober. Now listen to that statement one more time, how powerful it is. According to this new study by NHTSA, people who smoke marijuana have a minimally higher risk of crashing than those who stay sober. So marijuana and sobriety somehow have a correlation, believe it or not. During a 20-month study when it comes to impairment, during a 20-month study of almost 11,000 drivers in Virginia Beach, researchers working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, compared drug and alcohol readings from people involved in crashes against similar people at the same time of day and location who kept their cars intact. And the main takeaway was, when you factor in age, sex, race, and so on, there was, quote, no significant increase to the risk of crash involvement due to marijuana use. It's absolutely mind-boggling. That's funny, Red. That's really funny. Red says, go buy a pack of gum. Thanks for the $2, man. I'll buy a cup of coffee with it at a gas station. So that was pretty much the conclusion. Now, if you look at the report itself, and I think it's absolutely essential to dive in and not just take my word for it. So if you look at the abstract of the study, and I'm going to include a link to the study in the comment section so that if I'm sorry, that's I think is a local file link. I apologize for that. Here we go. So that link, I'm going to remove that so that it's not. Here we go. Okay. It's not getting in the way. Drug and alcohol crash risk study. If you just click on a report, you'll be able to access it. You don't need to do that right now. I'm going to be talking about it, but just for future use. Why does everybody think I dye my hair? That question gets popped up so much. No, I do not dye my hair. I don't use hair products other than a shampoo and gel from time to time, as you can see what I've done with my hair today. I grayed naturally. I started graying when I was 17. I got my first gray hair at 17 years old. So it's genetic. It's nothing that I can help with. So stop asking. Stop asking. I guess it makes me look more distinguished, so people think like I'm actually doing it intentionally, which is so silly, so silly. Oh wow, Red Rex, Happy New Year says the Chinese New Year, or is there another New Year that I missed, or is that still the New Year from a month and a half ago, which I'm still okay with. I appreciate it, brother. Thanks for the good words. He says your hair looks great. Okay, all right, thank you so much. Anyway, so back to the study. So the national NHTSA study, which came out, like I said, in 2015. Their report date even actually says on here December 2016. They may have updated it since. States that for alcohol and drugs, this is it. You ready? Analyses that they've performed found no statistically significant interaction effects when drivers were positive for both alcohol and drugs. So no statistically significant interaction between those two. Although initial analyses suggested, so they had a hypothesis, right? Suggested that the combination of alcohol and other drugs were contributors to increased crash risk. Additional analyses adjusting for other risk factors indicated no significant effect, period. When both alcohol and other drugs were consumed, here's the kicker, alcohol alone was associated with crash risk. Now listen to that. When both alcohol and drugs were consumed, alcohol alone is the one that's associated with the crash risk, not the marijuana. And when they're talking about drugs, I think primarily they're talking here about THC. So they're not talking about other drugs specifically. And if you look at the article, if you actually read some parts of the article, which we're going to talk about, the study does not differentiate by crash type. It merely examines the contribution of alcohol and drugs to crash risk, regardless of the type of crash that it was. And this strategy has been proven sound for examination of alcohol-related crash risk. That might not be the case for other drugs, as they want to clarify that. It is likely that the contribution of individual drugs to crash risk varies depending on the type of crash and the specific impairing effects of a particular drug. So, for example, here it is. The consumption of THC, tetrahydrocannabinol, may have a larger impact on attention-related skills than on behaviors that influence aggressive driving. So THC and aggressive driving have very little, if any, probably no correlation based on what this study is saying. Alcohol and aggressive driving would clearly know exists, speeding, That's why there's an elevated crash risk when it comes to the consumption of alcohol. Those studies have been done before plenty of times. But now when they looked at THC, they noticed that when you combine it with alcohol, you do have an increased crash risk because the alcohol is still in the system. I mean, you're still getting the same results. But when you remove alcohol from the equation, all of a sudden you're getting completely different results. Like there's no direct correlation. And naturally, for some of my audience members who may have experience with THC, you would know THC initially acts, I mean, it can be a stimulant, but mostly it is used as a depressant. It's actually its own category on the drug chart. So if you have a police officer who is an experienced DRE, which is a drug recognition expert, that's basically the standardized field sobriety tests on crack. Because there's like 12 different steps. There are 12 different field sobriety tests, essentially, that you're doing with the subject. They don't call them that. Again, it's a completely different category. But if you want a simplified version, that's basically what it is. You know, they check your pupils, they check your muscle rigidity, they check your temperature. They do administer the one leg stand, first on one leg, then on another leg. There's this something called a dark light room where they will examine your pupil reaction. They'll actually even measure the size of your pupils. They have like a little chart that they compare, trying to figure out what drug you're on. And if you're on marijuana, there's a section for the drug recognition expert to kind of take a look and be able to see if they can compare it to something that they have, so they can figure out what you're on. Basically, it's not medically approved. No doctors have been involved in that. It's basically cop passing it on to cop, passing it on to cop, passing it on to cop. And it was invented by a cop. So this whole thing, again, it's a very, very shady and shisty and bogus, but it's used on a daily basis across the wonderful United States that we live in order to convict people of operating a motor vehicle under the influence of drugs such as marijuana. But as I've said, in the article, in the study, they found that it could be argued, therefore, they say, it could be argued that the contribution of THC to inattention-related crashes may be higher than to crashes involving speeding or aggressive driving, in which it may be completely null. Again, going back to our original point. Similarly, it could be hypothesized that the consumption of stimulants may increase alertness and reduce crashes related to drowsiness while simultaneously increasing the likelihood of speed-related crashes. The reliance on aggregated crash data, which is not separated by crash type, may dilute effect of some drugs on the risk of involvement in certain types of crashes. Hello? Excuse me. Yeah. Oh, hi, I'm Sharon. I knew you were in here. Okay. Oh, you're okay. I'm streaming live right now. Absolutely. Thank you. All right. You have a good one. I'm not sure who that was, but I guess they were in the building. Yes, don't participate in conversation with the cops. Thank you, Flotog. Fantastic point. And pro tip, Flotog is on the money today. Do not participate in roadside tests. Absolutely. Hey, Douglas. Flotog, you've been watching too much DUI Guy. You're citing me to the viewers. I absolutely love that. Thank you for that. So no, what they're saying, War of the Worlds 2008, he asks, or she, stimulants cause less crashes. Not necessarily. Again, both alcohol and marijuana. I guess, again, it depends on what strain of marijuana. Now that we actually have so much more research that has been done into marijuana, and you have these gradations. There's the type of marijuana that will stimulate you. There's the type of marijuana that will bring you down. You can have a hybrid. You can have a combination of those two. Anything is really possible. But what they're saying is, if you have, I mean, think of it this way. And actually, I believe there was a case by an attorney, not myself, and I forget which state he's from. He litigated a case. It was a very interesting case where his client was both high on cocaine and he also consumed, or she consumed, alcohol. So alcohol we know is a depressant. Cocaine is a stimulant. his argument to the jury, very interestingly, was they cancel each other out. So this is normal. This is where you're operating a motor vehicle not under the influence. The marijuana brought her back down. I'm sorry, the alcohol brought her back down, and the cocaine brought her back up, right? So, or vice versa, the cocaine brought her up, but the alcohol brought her down. So that brought her to a equilibrium state, and that was the argument he made to the jury, and he won. They said not guilty because we don't think that she operated a motor vehicle under the influence. By the way, don't forget to like this video if you haven't already, comment below, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and of course, if you are so inclined, subscribe as a member to get all the member perks. So yeah, I think it's a great argument to make. You got to have the right jury for that, because and you got to make sure that they understand that the argument that you're making, because it's definitely a very unusual argument to make. And I agree, it is very insane. I when I heard that story, I was nothing but impressed. I mean, let's just put it that way. So when you're depressed, if you take something to stimulate, I mean, you guys remember the movie The Wolf of Wall Street, right? There's a scene where he jokingly says, he takes when he's walking down the stairs, and he says he takes this type of drug in the very beginning of the movie. He takes this type of drug to kind of speed himself up. Then he takes this to bring him back down. And he takes an entire, like a cocktail enough to kill half of Manhattan. That's basically what he's talking about. Is you have drugs that stimulate you. You have drugs that will bring you back down. And an argument could be made, just like that lawyer made, that if THC brings you down, and in theory, you take some type of stimulant like caffeine, obviously you don't want to be doing more illegal drugs that just kind of defeats the purpose at that point and makes it more likely that you will get convicted when it's found in your system. But the argument is, and what the study has found, it could be hypothesized, like they said, consumption of stimulants may increase alertness and reduce crashes related to drowsiness. Now, of course, again, they're not advocating for the use of drugs. They're not advocating for people to do this. This is simply a study based on the information that they were able to gather from the people that they have studied, that they were dosing. They even say in the very last page, the results of this study, of course, should not be interpreted to mean that it is safe for individual drivers to operate a vehicle while impaired by drugs, obviously. The study's limitations, along with the findings of other studies using different and complementary methods, need to be carefully considered before more definitive conclusions about drug use and crash risk can be reached. This is why it is critically important for law enforcement officers to carefully observe drivers. They're speaking directly to the cops. And for them to consider the totality of the circumstances if they suspect the drivers are impaired by drugs. And again, it's very difficult for a police officer to not see, any clues whatsoever, and somehow have the wherewithal to decide to arrest the suspect, I should say, for DUI, and then give them a blood test at the police station. I mean, that almost never happens. The officer has to have some indicia that a crime has been committed. Again, in a lot of cases, individuals either say something stupid, they admit to it, never talk to the police. This is why, okay? You say something stupid. Oh, yeah, I smoked 5 hours ago, officer. What you're trying to say is I'm fine. It's 5 hours ago. Like, I know my body, blah, blah, blah. But all the officer hears is, oh, you have THC in your system. If I go get a blood test, I can help convict you. And you just shot yourself in the foot. Never talk to the police under any circumstances. You don't know how they're interpreting what you're saying. To you, it may simply be an innocent statement of, listen, I'm fine, buddy. Like, if we went to high school together and you knew me, I would be fine, but you're not in the officer's eyes, no matter what you say. As soon as they hear that some illegal substance, or even legal, has been consumed in certain states, you will get pulled over. I mean, you will be investigated. You will be arrested after having been pulled over. So, yeah, that's the study. Of course, there is so much information in the study. Like I said, I linked it in the live comment section. I'm going to even link it again so that you guys can access it whenever you choose, or if you choose to review it. I'll probably even include it in the description below if I don't forget. But it's a very robust study, and it was a first of its kind. The National Highway Traffic and Safety Administration has never looked into these things. So, interestingly enough, by the way, the statute, the Kentucky revised statute that deals with DUIs, which is 189A.010, subsection 1D. The presence of a controlled substance listed in subsection 12 of this section is detected in the blood as measured by a scientifically reliable test or test given within 2 hours of cessation of operation or physical control of a motor vehicle. And a person shall not operate a motor vehicle anywhere in the state if they have that. Marijuana is directly excluded. The substances, this is section 12 of KRS 189A.010. The substances applicable to a prosecution under section 1D is any Schedule 1 controlled substance except marijuana, and then they go on to list a bunch of others. But you still can be prosecuted for under section B while under the C, while under the influence of any other substance or combination of substances which impair driving ability, but not D. So I guess the only one they can really go after is C, when you're operating a motor vehicle under the influence of marijuana in Kentucky. So yeah, that's basically it for what I wanted to talk about on the study. And I want to open the floor up for some questions. So just to summarize, so if you all understand, the study is not saying that it is safe to operate a motor vehicle under the influence of marijuana or having consumed marijuana. Obviously, I shouldn't say that. If you're under the influence of something, you're still going to be prosecuted no matter what. Because if you have consumed so much marijuana, so much THC in your system that it makes you feel the effects of it and you are under the influence of it, your saving grace, there may not be a saving grace, basically. But if you obviously appear normal, coherent, and the officer observes that, but obviously may smell the smell of marijuana in your vehicle, what this study is saying that there may not necessarily be a direct correlation between your consumption of THC and the potential for you to cause a crash, which is what everyone is trying to avoid, what this study was trying to find. What is the relationship between marijuana and driving? And it has found alcohol and driving has a direct correlation. There's absolutely no question. We found this time and time and time again, and it has not changed. But when it comes to THC, Delta-9, the active metabolite in THC, well, there we have a serious correlational problem, because when alcohol is introduced to the equation, it's back to crash risk is increased. But as soon as alcohol is removed, the crash risk suddenly decreases when it comes to marijuana. So this is what they have found, a very, very powerful study, and I think should absolutely be used by attorneys who practice in this area of law, especially if you're trying the case. So, and these, of course, would be questions for the lab analyst. That goes without question. So, Blake Landoff asks, what is the law here in St. Louis, Missouri, in driving a car if you're under the influence? I don't know. I don't practice in St. Louis, Missouri. I can't help you. If you're going to ask questions, by the way, I should probably limit this. Don't ask questions about your particular jurisdiction. I'm not going to be looking up. This is not a get your free legal advice here type table discussion. This is a general overview and a general understanding. Since NHTSA obviously applies to all 50 states, it's not a law. It's a study that can be used in all 50 states. That's why I touched up on it. And I touched up on Kentucky briefly because I practice here. So Again, if you want Kentucky-related DUI law questions, call me and we will have a conversation. And if you need representation, I'll be more than happy to assist. I'm not in the business of giving free legal advice, okay? On occasion, of course, I will give it, but this is a very comprehensive topic which requires a lot of digging sometimes. RJ Scum just keeps spamming to take edibles instead of smoking. We will take you up on that offer, RJ Scum. Okay, you can relax. Have I ever seen a cop get a DUI on duty? I'm sure they float around, Michael. I'm not sure. In my opinion, I mean, P. Sims, which is worse, alcohol or marijuana? Marijuana clearly. I'm sorry, alcohol clearly. Marijuana does not seem to be having as much an effect. I mean, when was the last time you've heard of someone dying of, well, first off, who has died of marijuana overdose? Show me that article. I've never seen one. Secondly, show me who has destroyed their body so much from marijuana that they, like for instance, cirrhosis of the liver is a clear and very common disease for alcoholics, those who overindulge and overconsume in alcohol. If you overindulge and overconsume in marijuana, I mean, I guess you could develop lung cancer is the only thing I can think of if you're smoking it. If you're ingesting it, I don't even know if there is a disease that could spark maybe a stomach ulcer, a stomach cancer if you do too much. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, to be honest. I'm just speculating here. Laura says that her ex got fired from the SWAT police for drinking. I'm not surprised. It's not possible to OD on cannabis. I agree, Liberty Cause. I've never seen that. Only in combination with alcohol. Only in combination with alcohol. Weed makes you stupid, says Athna. I think what you're referring to is that marijuana has been linked to short-term memory loss on light users and long-term memory loss on the more heavier users. So if that's what you're referring to, I don't disagree. The Delta 8 is the inactive metabolite. The Delta 9 is the active metabolite. I've had cases where only the Delta 8s come back. That's not the psychoactive substance. Delta 9 is the psychoactive substance, subcom freak 1, okay? So just remember that. It's very possible to get fat on weed. Stephen is right. I think it's a very universal truth that weed makes you hungry. The Silver Bishop says he's a chemist, or she, and they're saying that alcohol is one of the worst drugs, period. So there you have it. Birdie Boy agrees. Some of the comments here, I swear to God. How is alcohol legal and marijuana not? That's a great question, P. Sims. I have a historic answer. So you guys remember that movie Reefer Madness from the 1930s? Reefer Madness, one of the reasons I think that movie even came out to show the dangerous effects of marijuana on the human mind, again, which was completely bogus. It was just backed up by a couple of doctors who got paid under the table, probably. And made it and popularized it for the entire United States, was hemp. It's just like cotton. I'm sure you all are aware. Just like cotton, you can make things out of hemp. And hemp is a lot cheaper to grow. It's a lot easier to grow. It's a lot cheaper to maintain. You can make cheaper things out of it. And cotton was competing with hemp, and they were trying to figure out a way of how cotton could squeeze hemp out of the market. And that's exactly what they did. They're like, wait a second, if we just explain to everyone that smoking this stuff, and by the way, hemp and cannabis are two completely different things. I mean, you can grow hemp without growing marijuana, for consumption. You can just be growing hemp for purposes of making clothes, making things out of it. But unfortunately, that argument fell on deaf ears as soon as Reefer Madness came out. Again, completely bogus movie with an unsupported premise. I think the kid in that movie shoots himself or jumps out of a window after smoking weed and like shoots his girlfriend or something like that. I don't know. Really ridiculous. Completely things that have absolutely nothing to do. That sounds like the kid was on PCP rather than marijuana or methamphetamine. That, yeah, sure, I agree. Not THC. So, but anyway, it was popularized 80, 90 years ago, 70, 80, 90 years ago, whatever it was. And it's just been around for so long. People just bought into it, and hemp was squeezed out of the market. Cotton dominated. They were able to more expensively, but produce clothes. And that's what I understand from it. So, and yeah, there's the whole distinction about male flowers, female flowers. That's a good point, Bobby. Again, I don't know. I've never studied marijuana to such an extent to be able to talk about it so freely. I'm sure there's enough research you can do on the internet to find the answers to the questions you're looking for in that regard. I was just simply giving you an overview from what I know. And Liberty Cause also says it was threatening the timber industry. Well, there you go. See, so several industries were threatened. And Red Rex, what's up, brother? He's always flying in here with these lovely questions. Paper industry, there you go. Do I like KFC? It's a hard question to answer because I know you're asking this because I live in Kentucky. That's obvious. You should have asked me if I like In-N-Out Burger. That would have been an easier question. Because the answer to that is universal, absolutely freaking yes. You guys remember the Big Lebowski? Guys, can we go to the In-N-Out Burger after this? Shut the Donnie. I'm not gonna swear on stream, but such a fantastic movie. Such a fantastic movie. Yes, I like In-N-Out Burger, but to answer your question, do I like KFC? I don't know. I can't remember the last time I've had KFC. It's been years. I think the last time I had KFC was maybe 3 years ago, maybe even more. It was definitely not this year. It was definitely not last year. It was definitely not 2019. I may not even had it 2018. I don't know. It may have been even longer than that, honestly. I don't remember the last time I had KFC. Good Burger, I heard, is pretty good. Five Guys, we have a Five Guys. You know, not a huge fan. Not a huge fan of Five Guys. It's okay. DeLuna says she doesn't like, or he doesn't like In-N-Out. I don't know. I love it, again. So anyway, and yes, Zach, I'm glad you're bringing us back on point. Big Pharma is scared of cannabis because, think about it, Marinol and other cannabis-related drugs can be produced very, very cheaply. They really don't take a lot of chemistry and, you know, the breaking down. Pharmaceutical industry is all about making these expensive, extravagant drugs and, like, you know, that have 170 side effects. So you have to supplement them with 3 other drugs to, you know, not suffer from the bloody side effects that already come with the dose of the drug that you're taking in the first place. I mean, it's completely obscene. I don't like it. I think nobody really truly likes it. But Big Pharma is making its rounds on it. You know, so it's very, very unfortunate. That's how it is. But cannabis, again, because it can be made a lot cheaper. It is a lot more effective, in my opinion. It really doesn't have a whole lot of side effects other than, you know, you get the munchies. You may feel a little sleepy. You may feel a little loopy. And again, it all depends on how much you're taking. Like no one is talking about their high school experiences with THC, if you have them, of trying to get as high as absolutely possible. The whole point of using cannabis as a substance for treatment rather than recreational is that you control the dosage. You actually control, you calculate how many milligrams are you going to be consuming over what period of time and how many times a day. You're taking it like a medication, like a drug, again, a medication, rather than recreationally, you know, let's see how much I can take and how it's going to mess me up, if you will. So huge distinction. And I think for the government, they're disinterested in trying to figure out that distinction. Where is the line drawn? Where is the differences between recreational and medical use? And a lot of people use it for various things, such as insomnia. I understand that it also has properties that help with epilepsy, which is when you see, like, for example, you see a bright light and you begin shaking uncontrollably. Epilepsy can be treated. Not Parkinson's. There's also another. I remember I saw a video. This is just CBD, which is a part of THC plant. They're both included in the plant. CBD can help certain tremors to be subsided. So there's a lot of medical, and you can find this all. This is all in the medical literature. You can find a lot of benefits to recreational marijuana. So depression, I imagine, Tammy, yeah, absolutely. Marijuana can help with depression, multiple sclerosis, yes. The Liberty Cause is still talking about burgers. He's like, cannabis schmanibus. I'm here to eat, man. I'm here to consume burgers. Tell me where the best burger is, right? Oh, that's a great question, Flotog. Can an officer use the smell of marijuana as a probable cause to search my vehicle? The answer is yes. But there's a second part to your answer. In a state where marijuana is legal, maybe. I don't know. If it's completely legal, probably not, because it's not a crime. That would be my obvious answer. But if he suspects that you're operating a motor vehicle under the influence, he has a right to investigate you. What's desomnia? I think you guys are making up words. Or, oh, it's spelled differently. It's a name given to a group of sleep disorders which cause you an inability to sleep or complications. Isn't that they're categorized by? Oh, so insomnia is part of dysomnia. There are two categories of sleep disorders. Dysomnia is difficulty getting enough sleep, problems in the timing of sleep, complaints about the quality of sleep. And then you have parasomnias, abnormal behavior and psychological events during sleep, nightmare, sleepwalking, sleep talking. Okay, fair enough. Okay, can we move past the burgers, or are we just gonna spend the rest of the stream talking about the best burgers in town? and none of these I can try. Somebody asked if I like White Castle. On occasion, I will indulge. White Castle burgers have their time and specific time and specific day. I remember when I used to drink. They're a great post drinking pre-hangover snack for sure. But even without alcohol, I can tell you, I eat White Castle maybe once every couple of months. That's frequent for me. So, but yeah, back to burgers again, right? So yeah, so back to marijuana. As you can see, even the government in their study has found no direct correlation between the consumption of THC and crash risk. And such is the state of nature, the state of events here in the country today. So I think if you no, I don't drink anymore, DeLuna. I quit 2 years and 3 months ago now. I think something like that. I don't know. I'm losing track. But anyway, it's been like 2.5 years. Yeah, it's a very interesting state of affairs that we have, because if you have a prosecutor that is going to be arguing that your client, you personally have operated a motor vehicle under the influence of THC, and they want to prosecute you, because they found THC in your system, Delta 9, the active psychoactive, not the metabolite, the Delta 8, you need a good lawyer. You definitely need a good lawyer, because if they don't know what they're doing, it sounds like a death sentence. Look, we found it in the blood. It's obviously a drug. You're charged with operating a motor vehicle under the influence. I don't have an argument, right? Well, the answer is yes, you do, because the government has already said there are other things that you can do, which I'm not going to be talking about on stream, because these are defense strategies that we utilize, and I don't want to give prosecutors any headway. But they exist. There's lots of arguments that can be made when it comes to litigating these types of cases in court. And the beauty of it is, you got to remember, if you are arguing this to a judge, you got to be very careful. You may need an expert. You may need to shell out a few $1,000s to be able to defend yourself effectively in front of a judge. But if you go to a jury, you may not need any of that. And it may be a much, much easier time, simply, ideally, if you could, to flip the state's expert to your side. And you will, because all this stuff is common knowledge almost at this point. These analysts and lab technicians that will testify as to what they found in your client's blood, they do this stuff for a living. They're chemists, they're lab techs, they're laboratory technicians. They are aware of all this stuff. And I know some attorneys have tried this. They tried getting statements from these lab technicians. They've asked questions, they've submitted it to the court, and the court just turns a blind eye. And it's very unfortunate, but such is the state of affairs, that from what I've seen, at least here in Kentucky, in certain jurisdictions. And the key is, not to try and shorthand yourself or your client. If the judge does not agree, if the judge thinks that your client operated a motor vehicle under the influence, then by all means, put it to the test. Put it in front of 6 men and women, or if you're in if you're in circuit court, in Kentucky, you put it in front of 12 men and women to decide whether or not your client was indeed operating a motor vehicle under the influence. That is the ultimate test, is trial. So that is the way that you're going to be able to sometimes win these cases, that you may not be able to win them otherwise. And that's where a good lawyer comes in, like I said. So let's see, what other questions do you have? Green Star TV asks, why did I quit drinking? To be more productive. Alcohol just doesn't do anything for me. It's a hindrance. It's annoying. I'm a way better, more productive individual when I don't drink. Even just a little bit just makes me groggy, and I don't know. I don't like it. So legalize opiates, save lives. I don't know. I disagree. I think opiates are extremely dangerous. Lots of overdose. It's so easy to overdose on opiates. It's not even funny. What is my average fee? It depends on the case, Michael. Can a judge take your right to a jury? I'm guessing take it away? No, Stephen. Do I think Kentucky will legalize soon? We decriminalized possession, simple possession of marijuana. That means no enhancement, like no gun, no other stuff that you're, obviously trying to sell, in any indicia that you're a dealer. Just simple possession has been decriminalized here in Jefferson County, not in the rest of Kentucky. I thought we would be on track to legalizing it by 2022. Now I think it may be 23 or 24 before we really see any type of movement. Of course, COVID has put a huge dent in it as well. Everyone's been so focused on that. I don't think we're going to see it legalized in the next 2 years. I would be very lucky, maybe 3. Why is marijuana Schedule 1, cocaine Schedule 2? Again, we talked about this. This is it was purely political. It has nothing to do with the substance itself. All right, let's see if there are any other questions that I have missed. Isn't that going to be? It's a question, but it's a hard question. What are my thoughts on COVID? Asks Michael. It frickin' sucks. I'm hired, says Lara. Can I retain you for guidance to help my son to get a Florida hardship license? You may not, unfortunately. I don't have a Florida license to practice law. I mean, is there a comparative study of how many overdoses there are in legalized states? Again, I don't think that exists because I've never heard of a marijuana overdose, not one. So why would there be a study if the number is 0 as far as I know? Judge said I can't have a jury trial. Can I fight it? Maybe. Depends on the jurisdiction. Sometimes you're not entitled to it. If you look at, I think West Virginia, for example, if there's the sentence is less than 6 months in jail, you're not entitled to a jury trial. So a DUI, you cannot try a DUI first offense in, I think it's West Virginia. I'm almost positive. Or maybe it's New Jersey. I think it's Jersey. I take it back. I think it's Jersey. So maybe you can fight it depending on the jurisdiction. Again, remember, a lot of questions you ask me are very jurisdictional specific, so I won't know. I'm hired. I'm going to get paid with a thumbs up. I like that. Don't forget to like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you get notified every time I go live and post new videos. There is a new video coming around the corner, okay? So pay attention, be on the lookout. Those of you who are not yet subscribed, who do not have that notification button hit, you are going to miss it. You're going to miss it, okay? So probably here in the next couple of weeks, there's going to be a new video. The never before seen stuff. Yes, I can give a referral. If anybody wants information about somebody in their jurisdiction, I'd be more than happy. I do this all the time. I get a lot of questions about DUIs and DUI-related offenses in other states. So I'm always happy to give you a referral. That's not a problem at all. Just shoot me an email, okay? If you just Google Larry Forman or the DUI guy, I'm all over the place. If it's decriminalized, do they take your weed if pulled over? It's up to the cop, G-Rob. Hey, we got a new member, Red Rex. Hey, what's up, brother? Welcome to Law Novice. Thanks, man. Joined in as a member. Now you get access to perks. You wanna show off your perks, Red Rex? Now you have the little custom emojis. Can you see those? And you're gonna have a little hammer next to your name now, a little badge. Lara, email me. Am I going to answer? You guys, I can't catch every question. Will you relax? I'm not ignoring you. If I missed your question, I missed your question. Can one be told they are unfit for trial in due partly or in due solely to their supposed marijuana use? Maybe. It doesn't sound like it's something that should happen. Maybe. Don't fight for attention. It's unattractive. And don't listen to Liberty Cause, Lara. Listen to me. No offense, Liberty Cause. Can I get a temporary license to practice in a different state? Yes, it's called Pro Hack Vici. I've had some offers to do that in the past. It's very rarely going to work out because it means I have to take flights to another state. It gets extremely expensive. We're talking in the thousands, and you can quickly cross that $10,000 barrier. It's just not lucrative for the client, so they choose to usually hire local counsel. Oh, hey, we got a lawyer in the house. Brandon J says, I'm a newer attorney. Did you find that MCLEs were helpful in the beginning? What on earth is MCLE? Minimum continued legal education. I mean, we have a CLE requirement in Kentucky. It's 12 hours a year. I usually get more. I mean, I've had years where I had over 100 just because I like learning new stuff. But I think one year I even had like 160 when I was starting out. So CLEs are definitely helpful if that's what you're talking about. I don't know what an MCLE is. I'm guessing, again, it's the minimum. But yeah, CLEs are definitely useful. I still do them. I do about maybe 36 to 50 a year just because I want to. I love learning about this stuff. And there's always something new. You always pick something up, something useful. Jazz Trucking, thank you for the $10 dono, brother. If Congress legalizes pot on the federal level, there will be those in government attempting to say certain classes of people, like truckers, can't use it, but others can. Can the government exclude certain classes? That sounds like a constitutional question, which I'm not really equipped to answer, but it sounds to me like, I mean, again, it all goes back to the whole, since you're a trucker, you fall into a category of someone who is on the road constantly. And even though there's no direct correlation between crash risk and marijuana use, as NHTSA has found, the question becomes then, is it safe still for you to operate? And again, I can see a universe where the feds come in and say, look, you're a truck driver, you are exempted from being able to legally use, or something like that. I guess we will cross that bridge when we get there. But I don't know. I really don't know. I guess we'll see. And obviously people will litigate it. People will litigate that issue regardless of where it comes out. So thank you, Sandra. I really appreciate it. I do this for you guys. When will Texas legalize marijuana? Great question, JP. Your guess is as good as mine. If I ever get hired on these cases, Walkthrough Planet, absolutely. I'm gladly take them. What was my LSAT score? What do you care? And LSAT is a bogus test. You just learn how to take the test and you take it. Who cares what my LSAT score was? Thanks, Brandon J, for another $5 dono. Thanks, brother. Is getting marijuana legal in Illinois? I think it is, yes. And again, some of you are asking, what if you're in chronic pain? Don't operate a motor vehicle. No, it's not. The question is not, can I, consume marijuana medicinally, medically, and still operate? We're not at that stage yet. Of course, you can be operating a motor vehicle with prescription drugs in your system and still be prosecuted for it. Again, the statute, it specifically excludes drugs that are prescribed. It doesn't mean you can't be prosecuted. I have a case right now where the prosecutor says my client was, and I think I talked about this case before, even though she was under strictly within therapeutic limits, all the drugs in her system were legal, all prescription. We basically even said, you can't use the blood results because these are all prescriptions. He said, yeah, but he's still trying to bring in an expert who's going to testify, for whatever. I'm not going to get into details because it's a pending case and it will be likely going to trial. It doesn't make any sense to me why that case is being tried. I think it's a slam dunk, but it is what it is. I still have to prove it. I can't simply talk about that. I still have to prove it in a court of law to a jury. Is gifting marijuana legal in? I have no idea, Reefer Man. I don't practice in Illinois. Why are you asking me questions about a jurisdiction like that? I have no idea. Everyone is trying to set aside money for a future DUI. Don't do that. I'm not a DUI advocate. Don't get DUIs is my position. Exactly, Red Rex. You guys are nuts. Like setting aside money in the future to hire a DUI lawyer, that's ridiculous. It's like you're planning on getting committing a crime and getting arrested for it. Don't do that. That's stupid. That's really silly. You guys are silly. You know that? I hope that you know that. Possession of marijuana can alone constitute probable cause for search. Well, first he's got to know that you have it. So how did he find out? Did you tell him? Oh yeah, by the way, I have some weed here. Well, you're an idiot. You just gave him probable cause. Yes. All right, we're going to give it a few more minutes here. Chat is dying the death of 1,000 razor blades. I'm getting questions about jurisdictions I've never practiced in. Yeah, I think you're right, Jonathan. I'm kind of learning that, but it's okay. It's all about separating the sheep from the herd. Again, initially we started a very lively, good discussion about marijuana and driving, and then we digressed into burgers. Then we sidetracked into some other stuff. Yeah, that's exactly Mike Smith. I don't know. I try to ignore them, but sometimes they pop up. So for me, it's kind of hard to separate the sheep from the herd. Okay, Reefer Man, just calm down. I'm gonna put you in timeout. He's starting to take over the chat, and I don't like that. Anywho, so you're in timeout for the next 5 minutes. I may be done in 5 minutes, so it's all good. But anyway, does anybody else have any questions? In one of your videos, you say not to refuse a breathalyzer if CDL holder because of harsh penalties by FMCSA. I have a video on that, I believe, Sandra. So yeah, Banjo's screams, Banjo scream pies. Yeah, Reefer Man, I think, was being a little weird. He probably smoked a little reefer, right? No offense, buddy. Sorry, we threw you under the bus. I did make a video on it, but I think, or no, not Sandra. I'm sorry, Ivan. I think the chat jumped. The harsh penalties by FMCSA. Yeah, it's the suspension requirement. It's the suspension. So if you refuse, you lose your CDL license anyway, even if you're acquitted of the DUI. Basically, that's it. You know you've made it when you attract the trolls. It's just part of getting famous, says RJ Scum. Oh, come on, man. You're too much. I have 100 people watching. What are you talking about famous? I've seen these YouTubers. They have like 60, 80, 100,000 concurrent views on YouTube. I am nowhere near famous. I don't think I want to be famous. I just do this for fun. I do this for you guys. Adrian Smith, thanks for the $5 dono, for real. If a cop observed you had marijuana, but you have not admitted to the cop it is marijuana, that would obviously be really dumb. Yes, Rory. Jim, you are absolutely right. Wait, Liberty Cause, why did you delete that? Why did you hide that message? Jim said that I need I need a better bust. Let me paraphrase. I need a better bust to be able to attract 60,000 concurrent viewers or 100,000. Very funny, Michael. All right. It sounds like the chat has officially died. The chat has officially died the death of 1,000 razor blades. So Jack Pimp, it's good to see you too, man. Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate that, Jack Pimp. It's going much better now. So anyway, thank you all so much for joining me on this Saturday. We had lots and lots of fun talking about. Okay. I like how now people are prefacing their questions with KY. Regardless of what the question is, just limiting it to Kentucky. That's a great way to try and go around it. I'm not falling for that. So again, thank you all so much for joining. Sorry it has been a while. Like I said, it's just been some stuff that I've been going through, and then I had those technical issues on, I think the 6th of February is what it was. And then Valentine's Day weekend, I was gone. So the last time we streamed was actually the end of January. So it's been 3 weeks. So I'm sorry about that. I will be back. I will be back next week, February 27th. I think it's a full moon that day. I should be able to stream. I don't see why I shouldn't. So unless something happens, I will definitely. Sorry, Jason. I can't catch them all, and we don't have all the time in the universe. But like I said, if it's directly related to a particular case, if you're looking for representation, I'm more than happy to give you a referral. Just shoot me an email. Again, this is not the time or the place for it to start reviewing your case individually and giving out referrals. Do it privately. I'm more than happy to do it, not publicly. So yeah, February 27th, I'm going to mark my calendar right now. Next Saturday, February 27th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. We'll be back. Now, what are we talking about? Now, I want to put this to a poll, by the way. I don't think I can do a poll like you can on Twitch, unfortunately. However, I got the next best thing. So these are the topics, okay? These are the topics. I'm going to go very quickly, so listen very, very closely. And then you're going to put a 1, a 2, a 3, or a 4 in the chat, okay? So number 1, talking about jury nullification again, if that's what you want to listen to. Talking about plea bargaining in the United States. How good is it? How bad is it? Is it ugly? Basically, plea bargaining, what's it about and how does it work? That's 2. Video and audio recording yourself for the police. Is that necessary? Is it essential? Should it be done? Should it not be done? And 4, polygraph tests. So whatever you're interested in, number 1, jury nullification, 2, plea bargaining, 3, videoing the police, 4, polygraph tests, okay? What are you most interested in? Drop it in the chat right now. 1, 2, 3, or 4. 1, jury nullification, 2, plea bargaining, 3, audio and video recording the police, 4, polygraph tests. And I'm going to review this. We may even be able to do it right now. I know it's quite a few options, but I want to ask you guys, the chat that's already here. A lot of people are going in for 3. And that was the one that was second most voted on after this topic. What effect would decriminalization of cannabis have on DUI law? And by the way, like I already said, I already answered that question. None, really. As long as you can be convicted, even if it's completely legal, if you're still under the influence of cannabis and it's decriminalized, you can still be arrested for it. It's a lot less likely that you may even be investigated. A cop will smell weed and he'll be like, I hope you're having a good day, buddy, if he sees that you look fine like in California or something like that. But simple decriminalization, I mean, here we go. It's already been decriminalized here in Jefferson County. Have we seen any change to the DUI law? Absolutely not. So it looks like the people have spoken. 3, 3 for sure. 3, please, 3. Audio and video recording the police. I'm marking that right now. And I'll make a post at some point about it. Is video recording yourself and the police. Is it smart? Is it useful? Is it helpful? Is it needed? Is it necessary? Is it essential? We're going to be talking about that next Saturday, February 27th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And I really appreciate every single one of you that has come here today, participated, and asked questions. Sorry if I didn't get to your question. I can't always get through everyone, but it's going to be a fairly straightforward topic. Granny Gear, this is a great segue. Granny Gear asks, are car cameras helpful? Well, Granny Gear, you're going to have to tune in next week at 6:30 p.m. on February 27th to find out what the answer is. So that's a great way to cut it off right here. Thank you all so much for joining me. Thank you all so much for coming. I love each and every single one of you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the 60,000 subscribers. I feel great. You guys are just awesome. Thank you for the donations, everyone who donated. Now I have my lunch and my coffee paid for tomorrow. So thank you for that. And don't forget, next week, be here. We'll talk about it. And we'll have some more fun. And hopefully this snow will start melting this week and here in Kentucky. And all you people without power out there, without water, God bless. I hope you stay safe, stay warm. I saw what the, let's just call it the politician from Texas has said about Texans and what he was willing to do to help them, which was nothing. So that was very unfortunate to see. But, such is life. And I hope you all stay safe, stay cool. Stay warm, stay cool too, but in a different manner, not temperature-wise. And I will see you all next week. Peace out, brothers and sisters. Have a great rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.